So, today we are making a bunch of benches. I've been asked to do 13 meters of benches for a dancing studio. So I've decided to take you guys with me on this bench building journey. The benches are pretty simple design, just rectangular frames from 25 by 25 square tubing. And on top we're gonna have some nice leather tufted seats. It's quite a big project. I give myself 4 days to complete it. Let me introduce you to our materials. Sorry for the ugly hat, it's just very warm. So what we got here is the foam. This foam is a little more denser than your regular foam. This foam is a little bit better for the seats, at least this is what I've been told at the huge foam warehouse, where they actually cut all of the foam that I needed to the size. So next up, I have a bunch of buttons for tufting, buttons and insert for the press. I have a press right there, this little guy. I also have some really good quality Hox leather. I don't want to unwrap it right now, I'll show you later in the video. So next up, I have a lot of 18 mil plywood. Heavy son of a bitch. Oh. It's not the greatest quality plywood, but it's gonna work just fine for our needs. So I'm gonna have 7 benches in total, and because the metal is not here yet, I'm gonna start with plywood. So the first thing that I would like to do is to route the bottom perimeter edge, so the sharp edge wouldn't damage the leather. Son of a... So I routed the edges just a little tiny bit, just to protect the leather from ripping. It's probably wouldn't rip, I just, you know, just to be safe. This piece, as you can see, it's from 2 parts. So now I have to glue this together. The OCD inside me is not happy about this. I could have flipped this piece, and I guess this grain would almost line up. But anyways, it's nicely glued, and we can move to the next step. So I have received the metal. The longer pieces are pre-cut already. These are all the cut-offs. I also have 18 meters of steel right there. And now I need to cut maybe like 60 or 70 short pieces. Yeah, that's going to be a long day today. So all of my pieces are cut and cleaned and prepared for welding. I'm so glad I actually bought this machine. Maybe 1.5 hours to cut all of these 60 pieces. And if I had to cut it with a grinder, I would literally hate every second of it. So my material is prepared. My station is cleaned and prepared as well. I have ordered some food that should arrive in half an hour. And I think I'm gonna start the welding process. I have so much to weld, so I think I'm not gonna film a lot. I think I'm just gonna set a time lapse, and I'll give you a quick update soon. check this out. All 7 of the frames. We have some tabs to attach the plywood. Everything is grinded. I didn't think I could pull all of the welding in a single day, but I did. I think I'm gonna get these frames powder coated. I don't want to be painting them myself. I kept the door wide open the whole day because I was welding a lot and I didn't want to breathe all of these fumes. And right now it's freezing in the shop. I am very tired, gotta go home. So I'll see you again tomorrow. So while the frames are getting powder coated, we can start working on the tops. I have done my homework and sketched out the patterns for the diamonds on the top of the leather. I'm gonna have to transfer these sketches on plywood right now. So this is what my pattern is going to look like. Now I will have to drill all of these holes and then we can glue up the foam. I'm gonna use this to glue the foam to the plywood. I think this is just your regular spray adhesive. Now I need to transfer the holes from the bottom of the bench onto the top of the foam. The way to do it for me, I think I'm gonna take a screwdriver and punch it through and mark the place where the screwdriver came out. So next up, I have this 25mm drill bit for ceramics. It looks like this, but I think I'm going to modify it a little bit. And now I can line up the drill bit with a hole on the bottom. And I'm just gonna get a straighter cut, like this. So yeah, I gave it a little try yesterday and tried to do this bench. This is the very first time I was doing the tufting. And honestly, it looks pretty good. I still haven't put in the buttons. As you can see, it's just the staples for now. I'm using the very weird technique that I saw online. And the point of this technique is that you don't have to do any markings on the fabric, which saves you a hell of a lot of time. I don't really feel confident explaining any of this technique right now because I still kind of figuring it out. Once you get a hang of this technique, it's actually really fun. However, it could be quite sketchy. You could waste a lot of materials, so I don't recommend it using with the expensive materials if you're starting out. I don't think I'm gonna do the whole explanation in this video. I think I'm gonna make a separate, smaller video about this technique and I'm going to upload it onto my Patreon account. Well, the whole point of this technique is that I don't have to do any markings on the fabric. I'm just finding the hole, filling it through the leather and putting a couple of staples inside of this hole. And then moving on to the next hole, to the next hole, and just forming the wrinkles by feel. Yep, I'm surprised myself, but it actually works. been a long couple of days. I've been working on a bench tops, kind of getting better at this, but at the same time I still feel like I kind of don't know what I'm doing, and every time I manage to do the bench by the lag. But somehow it works out. This leather is really cool. I really like it. I think I've chosen the right one. So in the next morning I've only had to do the buttons, so I took my leather, folded into like 20 layers and squished it in between two pieces of ply and drilled it with this ceramic drill bit, and it actually worked so good. It was such a pleasurable thing to drill through so many layers of leather at once. I got all of my pieces of leather for the buttons, and then I had to assemble all of the buttons. I think it took me about 20 seconds to make one of the buttons, so if you do the maths, I think it's like about 2 hours of just straight pressing in the buttons, which wasn't that bad, especially if you have like a good podcast on a background. Time can fly really fast. Yeah, the buttons came out just perfect. You can probably notice that I'm filming on my phone, because that day I left all of the memory cards at home, which is pretty classic of me, and I didn't really have time to go back home, so I had to continue working. After making all of the buttons, I had to thread all of them. I've used really thick copper thread. I folded it 2 times just to be sure, and it actually worked pretty good. After that, I've made this improvised needle from a piece of welding rod and used it to put in place all of the 250 buttons. So after I placed all of the buttons on the top, I've had to flip it over and staple all of the threads to the bottom of the bench. We decided to keep the bottom of the bench opened because it will be easier to replace the buttons if they go off. And so here is the result. I'm pretty happy with it. I think it looks pretty good. And here are finally all 7 of the benches. So in the morning I brought them into the dancing studio. As you can see, they had those ugly chairs before. So I unwrapped the freshly powder coated frames, placed them into the final positions, and then I placed the tops on the top of the frames. And finally I got a glimpse on what my work looked like. And then I just had to attach the tops to the frames with some wood screws. And check this out, the benches are looking mint. After so much time building them, I was really happy to get them out of the way, and they looked really good at this place. I think I'm done with this video. Thank you for watching till the end. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, check out the Patreon if you want to support me doing the videos. And I will be back with a more fun build in a week or 2 if everything goes to plan. And I'll see you then. Thank you and bye.